Welcome to Conversations, Cocktails, and Connections. I'm Amy Hester.
And I'm Emily Reeves.
What are we making today?
So tonight I thought we would make a Cosmo, a classic Sex and the City Cosmo kind of drink.
I've never had one.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad.
I have never had a Cosmo.
I have, but it's been a really long time. So we're going to mix it up. We've got a lemon flavored vodka. We've got our Cointreau and some cranberry juice, some lime juice, and I'm going to grab our martini glasses out of the freezer and we're going to shake it up.
I didn't realize all of these components were in a Cosmo.
Oh, and look which book I'm using. The one you got.
From Box Turtle.
Yeah.
Cocktails with a Twist. I love it. And the fun thing about this book, it has fold outs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I really started looking at this book, because looking for recipes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you knew this because you bought it.
Yeah.
But the way that it's grouped, it's like by families, right? So it's like this is the martini family in this section. And so it's like you open it up and it's the classic martini, and then you open the things up and it's all variations on the classic martini. And
That's
I was like,
awesome.
well, that's so smart.
Well, I was looking at martinis, just like, what's the history of a martini? And I mean, not that I'm going to remember everything, but there were so many different takes on it.
Uh-huh.
Like somebody thought that this gold, like miner going into like Martinez, California or something was the reason that it was called that, because they were out of champagne at this bar. And he was like, well, just mix me something up. And that's possibly one.
That's
and then
interesting.
There were like two others, like about some hotel, and then Martini and Rossi was that people say that it might have been named after that. So I was like, well, okay, this isn't helping. I need to know the exact.
You wanted one story.
I wanted one story. So I was like, okay, oh my God, I'm reading too much. I don't like this.
Oh my God. All right, I'm going to put ice in our shaker.
Okay.
And we will start mixing it up.
I love Sex and the City, and I always wanted to hold my little Cosmo glass, but I just, I've told you guys this before, that I've always been kind of shy on ordering these things because I didn't want to not like it.
Well, this is why we do it. Okay, so I'm doubling everything, of course. Okay. So the recipe for a single is 1.5 ounces of citron vodka. So I'm going to double us to 3.
A Rocktown vodka.
Yes.
Local.
We've been enjoying it, clearly.
This podcast is going to make us both like alcoholics. No, not really.
Okay, 3/4 ounce Cointreau, which is an orange liqueur. So 3/4, so 1.5 is what we need here. So there's 1.5.
So when I used to wait tables back in the day, where I worked had margaritas, and they would have what they called a meltdown, and so you would put a liqueur on top of it and it would just kind of melt down into the margarita. And Cointreau was one of them.
There you go.
Midori was my favorite though.
So
I'm sorry, not Midori. Oh my gosh, Chambord. Midori, I do not like Midori. Chambord is the raspberry one.
3/4 ounce lime juice for 1 serving. So I put in 1.5, and then same thing with cranberry. So I'm gonna put in 1.5 since we only need.
So that's what makes it pink.
That's what makes it pink. All right.
When we were talking about what we were gonna make, I'd been back to Williams-Sonoma and purchased the coupe glasses for myself. And they had some martini glasses, and now after we're talking, I was like, damn it, I should have bought the martini glasses.
I mean, this is what I've been doing for months, Amy. Like,
I know. Well, they were on sale, which they're not on sale online, but they were on sale
in person.
And they only had 3. And I was like, well, I don't want to get just 3. Or maybe they had like an odd, I don't know, maybe just 2 or something like that. So now I'm going to have to go back and buy them.
And then you'll have to keep them in your freezer. Then you're gonna have to rearrange your whole freezer for all the glasses and ice. We've been here.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Ooh, pretty. It's a very pretty pale pink. This is I think this is gonna be my new favorite drink. Just by feeling, but just by looking at it.
Because it's pink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
And then we garnish with some lemon, which I already peeled for us. So I'm gonna express the juice and
express my juice.
dip it in there. And it's even got like an ice layer on top. Cheers.
Ooh, beautiful.
And that's pretty tasty.
Oh, that's really good.
And this is why they're popular.
OMG. Cosmo.
This is good.
That's really good. So who's our guest?
Oh, who is our guest?
Christina. Okay, I have to be honest. I am going to ask her the proper pronunciation of her last name because I do not want to butcher it. But she is so big on social media. She was an ex-professional golfer, which I think is huge for a woman to be a golfer in like the big leagues of corporate world.
Yeah.
Like she, you know, if you're like at a board meeting, guys are talking about going to play golf. Well, she can go too.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone out on the golf course with, because I have clubs, because, you know, I like to collect hobbies, but I am not good, and I don't think, I think I was asked a couple of times to come, like, more like for comic relief than anything else.
But I think it would be badass to be like, yeah, oh yeah, and then they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
so now she doesn't golf anymore.
No, she doesn't. But she does, she is a life coach type, mentor. She's all the things and super inspiring person to listen to if you follow her on social media. And I can't wait for you to meet her. I've met her a couple times and she is radiating positivity, and I love that. And right now in our life, we need it, right?
That's right. Well, let's get to it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I have to say before I introduce you to Emily is I would love to know the proper pronunciation of your last name because I want to say Lecuyer. Am I butchering that?
You know what? It's very close. It's liqueur, just like the alcohol.
Okay.
Liqueur, like an alcoholic drink. Like liqueur, like an after dinner drink. It's actually Lecuyer, but no one here speaks French, so it's liqueur.
Awesome. Well, I mean, does it suck, Kevin, when people ask you that all the time because or say it incorrectly?
Not really. Like most people butcher it all the time. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, oh yeah, it's really hard. I wouldn't know how to say it either. I'm not good at it either. So yeah, it's liqueur.
Awesome.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Emily.
Nice to meet you. I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I've been learning a little bit more about you because Amy's met you and knew who you were, but I didn't, and I was excited to learn about you, and I'm so impressed, and I can't wait for you to tell your story and to learn even more about you. So you're originally from Canada, right? That's where the French last name comes from?
Yeah, exactly. I never grew up on the French side of Canada. I grew up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, kind of above Montana, but yeah, I was there until I moved here to Arkansas in 2002. Crazy long time. I cannot believe how long it's been. It's insane.
Well, if it's anything like this year is gone, I mean, oh my God, time is passing by so quickly. I mean, you hear your parents and everybody say, oh, when you get older, time goes by super fast. But I swear this year during COVID has been a blur and super fast. You know?
Oh my gosh, I totally agree. If I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost September. Like I was having a call with my team today and we're like, okay, yeah, it's September 1st. I was like, oh my God, that's 2 weeks away. What the hell?
I know. I mean, I feel like when you're starting to think about seasons of clothing, because when we closed the salon, people were still wearing coats. And then you go into summer or spring, and then we go back, there's no more coats. Now it's hot. And now we're about to be into a whole nother fall wardrobe.
Whole nother season. Exactly. I am probably the least girly girl that there probably is. And so I look at seasons. My husband and I, our family, we look at seasons in sporting events. So we're like, oh, perfect. It's horse season. It's boat season. It's football season. Yeah. Like all of the seasons we look at it in athletic events, but this year there may not be. So I don't know what to call them.
Well, I want you to tell everyone what it is you do. I mean, I can say you are, I told Emily, I said, I don't know you well, but I have met you and I follow you on social media, and I feel like you radiate positivity, and, you know, we all need that in our life. And please explain how you do it.
Yeah.
How to be that way, and tell us what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to totally preface it as my life is far from perfect. Like I have really bad days. I have really bad moments. Am I allowed to cuss on this podcast, by the way?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Oh, amazing. Okay, good. Because I can actually do it without. People don't believe me because I am such a cusser, but I have done television and radio for a really long time. So I definitely know how to do it without cussing. But now that I'm allowed to, I'm my normal self. But yeah, my life is not perfect. It's far from perfect. I am a shit show a lot of the times. I have really bad things go on in my life. But about, and I'll kind of get into my story in a second, but about basically 11 years ago, I learned that I have a choice. I have a choice every single day how I'm going to show up, no matter what is actually happening around me. And I truly believe, actually, I have one of the greatest lives on the planet. I am probably one of the happiest people that you will know. All my clients are just kind of shocked when they're like, oh my God, you're the real, like, this is you in person and this is you online and this is you all the time. And it's 100% the truth. I definitely have bad days. I definitely have moments, you know, where I get off the phone and I want to cry and throw my laptop in the computer and run away from my life. But 99% of the time, I really truly believe I have an amazing life because I choose it. End of story. And yeah, it's really cool. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for acknowledging that. I love the fact that I am kind of the people come to me and just like, oh my God, I just want your confidence. I want your positivity. I want your life. Like I want to show up in this world the way that you do. And I'm very, very grateful. That is actually what I do for a living. You know, I was a former professional golfer. Played golf professionally for a really long time. I hosted corporate and charity golf events. I did television, I did radio, I did all the things. And I'll be honest with you, everyone thought my life was extremely amazing and fantastic and all of the things. But truth be told, I was pretty much dying inside. I hated my life. I didn't feel worthy. I had an awful eating disorder. I didn't know if I wanted to live. And so I'm so thankful that I get to say that now because I'm on the other side. Two things kind of happened to me when I was 18. The first thing was I got really good at golf. And the second thing was I actually got really attractive at the exact same time. You know, it's true. And the minute that happened, I got a world of external validation. I was so pretty, so smart. Your life's going to be perfect. You're so awesome. You're so amazing. And for about 10, 11 years, I was on the external validation crave train. There was never enough atta girls to make me happy. I was like always needing it. Like if I lost another pound, I would maybe be like worthy. If I, you know, won the golf tournament, I'd be happy. And it was this train of I had all of the things and yet I was not whole inside because I didn't believe I was worthy. And so basically, when I was about 27, 28 years old, I decided that I was going to change my life. I didn't know how I was going to do it. There was two roads. It was like kind of like a rock bottom for me. And I was kind of like, I realized that other people in the world are actually happy and have way less than I do. So how does that happen? And so I just dove into self-development, and fast forward 11 years later, I have, you know, I've drank all the Kool-Aid, and it's what my life is now about. I help people live a life where they feel so unbelievably worthy of living a life that they're so in purpose. I help them make their profit. I do all the things because I truly believe when you're living a life in alignment, in purpose, you truly, like, nothing can stop you. So yeah, that's what I do.
Oh my gosh.
So what was the trigger? You've talked about hitting rock bottom. Like what was the thing that like just said, okay, I've got to turn it around? Was there one thing? I mean, obviously it had been leading up to that point for a while.
Yeah, you know, I can't tell you that it was like one specific thing. It did get really bad. Like it got to the point where I was like, I had failed getting my LPGA tour card by like a couple strokes for like 3 years in a row. I had, like I said, I had a horrible eating disorder. I based my worth on how I looked, how much money I was making, who I was surrounding myself with. I just knew that like, it was, you know, like I remember specifically, like it was 2:00 in the afternoon and I was like ironing in the bedroom and I'm just like, what the hell happened to my life? Like, how did this happen? I always have had this like small, still voice within inside of me that always knew I'd be successful. But I also had this bigger voice inside of me that was like, you're not good enough. Like you are golf. Like I was golf. Like my social media handle and, you know, my email address and everything was golf Christina, because I believed that I was nothing without golf. I was nothing without my looks. I was nothing without, what I was doing instead of who I was as a being. And that's really where I think a lot of people in this world struggle with. I have very, 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 very successful clients that I sometimes work with, and I work with people who are, starting out. I work with a big variety of people, but so many people base doing. We live in a doing world instead of a being world. And I think that like once you kind of get into more of the being instead of the doing, that's really where, the brilliance comes in. But for me, it was just kind of a matter of saying like, okay, I really thought that this was going to make me happy because I checked a lot of the boxes, right? Like how many people think like, oh, when this happens, I'll be happy. When like lose the 10 pounds, I'll be happy. Make the $1 million, I'll be happy. Get in the relationship, I'll be happy. And it does not work that way.
Yeah.
And that's especially typical for women. I mean, you're saying people in general, but I mean, women are harder on themselves from an appearance standpoint and who they surround themselves with and, what clothes they're wearing and what do people actually think of them. And so I think do you work mostly with women?
I do. I work a lot with women. I have a few male clients that are, very successful. They came from my golf world, my golf industry when I was in the corporate golf industry. And, it's so funny that you think, you're making 5 million and, like, you're like, oh, for sure, 10 will make me happy. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that that's not the case. 5 never made you happy, But I work with a lot of women. I love working with women who are really, really, they know that there's something more inside of them. How many people, and probably a lot of your audience will be like, well, I have nothing to complain about. Like, I mean, I have a good life. I have kids, like my bills are paid, I'm in a relationship, but they have that like little small voice within inside themselves that they're like, I want more. And most people feel really bad about that. Or women have completely lost who they are, especially, I work with, I believe like the two age ranges I work with a lot are like that late 20s, early 30s, where women are just like, oh my God, like what is happening? Like this, I know that there's something more. And then I work with like the late 50s, early 60s, where people have spent their whole entire lives like being a mom or being a spouse, and they've completely lost who they are.
Yeah. I feel like there was something that I read on I think it was on your website that really, after I read it, I was like reading it out loud and I was like, oh my God, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
You have one life and every day you're losing a day. So you might as well do something that you enjoy. And I was like, holy shit. I mean, yeah. I mean, especially during all of this, we are on a repetitive Groundhog's Day type of living right now, but you're still living. And that's what I'll talk to clients and they're like, well, we got to live our life. And I'm like, yes, you do safely. But I mean, it does make you realize, yes, we are still living. It is a pause. I mean, uncomfortable time to live in, but I love that. But,
you know what? It's so funny that you bring this up. At the beginning of COVID, I had this situation arise like most people where, I was still doing the corporate golf industry. I made multiple 6 figures in the corporate golf industry. And I remember in a 2-day period, I lost over $100,000 of clients. Like it was like we're canceling. And it was like a Thursday, Friday. And I was like, oh my God, I want to like run away, die, cry, all the things. Yeah. And like 2 days later, I literally, because again, I started this whole conversation with everything is a choice. Your life is a choice. What you think is a choice. Everything is a choice. I did this webinar and I literally put it out on social media and I said, listen, I guarantee you I will come out of COVID better than I went in. And I decided from that moment on that I was going to come out of COVID better. Ladies, I made up that money in the first 2 months. My business is almost sold out. I'm thriving. I promise you, COVID has been the best thing that ever happened to me. And one thing that I will remain true to 100% is like, you literally do not get this time period back. We're not going, okay, life is in a pause. We're going to attack 4 months on to the end of your life. Wrong. Life is now, and you get to choose. And like, I don't care if it's COVID. I don't care if you're waiting for that relationship. I don't care if you're waiting for that money. I don't care if you're waiting for that, that child to come around. I don't care if you're waiting for that lawsuit to be over. Whatever it is, you get to choose. And today is like one less day on the planet that you have. And I don't know why I know that. I feel like God has given me, God, source, universe, whatever you believe. I believe that I have like this really weird sense of knowing that life is really short. And I don't know if that means I die tomorrow or I die at 90, but I truly have this like weird, eerie knowing within me that life is so unbelievably short. And I haven't dealt with like a lot of sickness or a lot of death or all the things, but I truly understand very, very well. And I think that's one of the reasons why I can operate from where I do, is that like, I literally cannot wait to get out of bed in the morning. Like I get up in the morning about like 4 a.m. and I love it. Like I literally am like so excited to get up in the morning because I'm like, yes, I got another day.
That's awesome. That is something that is so attractive to me with you, because I want that and I try to be that way. And I have had a call with her.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this, when we were talking, I was so uncomfortable, not because of just meeting you or anything like that, but it was my husband was in the other room, and I was so much of probably the stuff that I wanted to talk about probably had to do with him. And I was like, if he fucking hears me, how am I going to keep this? I mean, I wanted him to leave. I mean, I knew where he was. I could feel his presence. And he probably was just standing there like, what is she talking about? But I mean, it was still grateful. And the thing that I did get out of it was, and I actually have mentioned this in another podcast that we did, but I didn't ever go into it, was just the thing that one thing I got out of it was saying what you want out loud, basically, to the universe. And I was like, I did it. I need to get back into it. I was doing it every morning for the longest time. And I would walk outside with the dogs and I would just say it out loud. And I don't know, it just kind of felt really good to say it out loud. I mean, at the first time I walked around, I was like, oh my God, did my husband, he's probably thinking I'm crazy. But I mean, it was good. I had really good days. I mean, I really did. And
so I'd love to talk about that, because here's the thing. That's called manifesting, and that's called an affirmation. I do it every single day, and I 1000% have manifested my life. Like 1000%. You can call it woo-woo. You can call it anything that you want. It's 100%. I have created my life 100% by basing it on, I am speaking to the universe exactly what I want. And I expect to get it. Like I expect the sun to come up in the morning. And one thing that you said right there that I think is so, so crucial is the fact that you did it. You did it for a little while right after our call, right? Because you were pumped up, you were ready to go right after our call, but then it faded.
Yeah.
And 90% of people on this planet, motivation fails. None of this, it doesn't work. One of the reasons why, if you follow me at @Christina on Instagram, one of the things I will tell you is you have got to invest in yourself. You have to have skin in the game. People think that I'm just trying to sell all of the things. I'll be honest with you. Am I trying to sell it? Abso-freaking-lutely, because it absolutely will change your life. I am a walking, breathing, like living human being whose life has been changed, where I have operated the last 5-6 years of my life, never not being with a coach, never not being in a mastermind. Because guess what? When you have skin in the game, when you have like a repeat person, like a person to call, Amy, you would not have stopped. If you would have had skin in the game, if you would have had accountability, consistency, motivation, all of the things, because that's where we as human beings are absolutely lazy. I know I am. If it's cold and raining and Sunday and I don't want to go to the gym and there's no skin in the game, I'm probably not going to the gym. But if I have a trainer who's waiting for me because I have booked it months out and I don't really give a crap, I'm not losing that $50 or $60 or whatever it is, I'm going to show up at the gym. So you're not the only one, but 100%, you can 100% manifest your life.
Go
So
ahead.
I was gonna just say I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about the mastermind and kind of how you found that group of people and how big it is, and kind of just tell us a little bit about that experience, because I'm a member of a mastermind, but I think it's too big of a group, and I don't always feel comfortable in it,
Yeah.
and so I'm just kind of curious about what your experience is with that.
Okay, for sure. Absolutely. First of all, I'm blown away that you actually know what a mastermind is, because 99% of people do not. So I'll explain it in my own terms. I want it like as like plain day as possible. A
Yes.
mastermind is basically a like-minded group of people coming together to accelerate growth. Masterminds, quote unquote, whatever you want to call them, have been around for years. Like I've always even used the terminology like Jesus and the disciples was a mastermind. It was a group of people coming together and they're like, hey, let's share thoughts and ideas and grow together and hold each other accountable. That's really what a mastermind group is. So I have a mastermind of my own. I have the Women with Class Mastermind. I've hosted it for the last 4 years. It's an amazing group of women. I'm very thankful. I do it couple times a year. I have been a part of masterminds myself. I have a mastermind accountability group. So basically what typically happens is people join masterminds and then they break off into smaller groups. I feel like that smaller group, the perfect number is like 4 people to hold each other accountable. I don't think it needs to be more than that, but I do know like my mastermind, my women's mastermind, which this year we pivoted and we went all virtual and it's actually been phenomenal. Maximum amount of people who will ever be in my masterminds are 20. I feel like 20 is that great number to where I still get one-on-one time with them, because that's what most people want, is the access to me. And then also too, I break them up into the smaller accountability groups, five accountability groups of 4 people. So they stay accountable, they stay motivated, they stay connected. So in my opinion, I think a mastermind is really, truly brilliant, because what you're doing, and I've said this and it triggers some people so often, but I pay for my friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
100%. I pay for the people I want to be around. Ever since I started doing that, I'm like, why would I want to do anything different? Because I know the goals, dreams, ambitions, how I want to show up every day in this world. And if I can like fast forward where I want to go by being a part of that group, oh hell yeah, I'm in. And people like are like, I can't believe that you say that. I'm like, were you a part of like a fraternity or sorority? It's pretty much exactly the same thing.
Well,
That's so true.
how do you because you do one-on-one coaching as well and the masterminds, so you have all of these people and all these people contact. How do you keep, because I know you're really good about popping in and like, and supporting somebody. So if you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, how do you keep up with who you need to reach out to? How do you keep your clients engaged and with so many that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I take 15 one-on-one clients at a time. I'm very grateful to say that I'm pretty much always sold out with my one-on-one clients. And then my masterminds, like I said, are about 20. And then I do retreats and speaking engagements and things as well. But I will say, like, my number one secret superpower is that I am 100% in my purpose. Like, I show up every single day. Like, it's 5:42. I have been on call since 7 a.m. with like a 2-hour break, and I could do this all night long. Like, this is 100% in my purpose. I freaking love it. Veins pop out of my neck. Like, this is what I'm meant to do on the planet. And that's why I get excited about what I get to do. That's why I'm able to connect with people. You know, I have like 20,000 followers on social media, and I guarantee you I probably get 60 to 70 direct messages a day, and I reply to every single human being. And I will, no matter if they are like, I have people on here that have never paid me a dime that I pretty much will reply back to on the daily, within hours. And I will always do that because I play the long game. Number one, I know for a fact if I provide value to a person for a really long time, chances are they're going to end up working with me in some regard. I know that. But also too, like, I love to serve. Like, if a person's life is changed by one message, like, that I can send, or one, like, oh, hey, listen to this podcast, or follow that link, or read this book, or connect with that person, like, it's no skin off my back. I literally am in my purpose. This is what I love to do. This is the reason why I breathe. And so it's not hard for me. I think where a lot of people come to me for business, you know, like, I do a lot of business coaching. I help people, I believe 100%. Like, if your mindset for business is not, if you're not working on your mind, your business is probably not going to be as high level as it can possibly be. So, you know, I don't look at myself as a business coach. I look at myself as a mindset and confidence coach. But yeah, have I created a very, very successful online business? Absolutely. So I can help you do it too. But, and it doesn't have to be online, obviously, but I do believe that I think where people kind of scramble and they find a hard time making something successful is when they aren't really choosing the joy behind it, and they're focusing on the wrong thing. The minute you start focusing on the money, you're really honestly hurting yourself. I focus on the impact, because when I'm in my alignment, when I believe that like I'm making an impact, always I'm gonna make money. Like, it's not even like, of course I'm going to make money because I am helping someone get to the next stage. I'm in alignment with what I should do. And I think that when the minute you flip that, that's when the big success comes.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I know that makes so much sense. And so you are putting so much energy out into the world every single day. I mean, when do you take time for yourself, and how do you decompress? Because I mean, you can't keep that up 24 hours a day, right?
No, 100% not. I have unbelievable boundaries, and I have really great self-care. That's what I teach everyone that I work with. Like, right after this, you're my last one, I'm going for a walk. I literally will not speak. I don't do social media after 7 o'clock. I wake up super early where I have 2 hours by myself. I do morning gratitude, prayer, quiet time. Like I say, I wake up at 4 because it's my favorite time. It's pure silence. Like, I talk to no one. I don't look at a screen. It's really, really important for me because I'm extremely extroverted, but I recharge introverted.
I love how, if you look at her stories on social media, I mean, you're working every minute of the day. I mean, you are on the treadmill, like, hey, if you got something to say, I'm going to say it on the treadmill. I'm going to say it on the walk. It's there, and I love it. And of course, you always look good doing it.
Oh my God. I fake it really well. Like the no shower. Like, yeah, you guys are all fancied up. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Throw on some glass.
Oh no, we're sitting here sweating.
No,
We're
I've had a mask. I've actually worked all day today, and I was like, I had a new one, and it literally soaked me today. I was like, I cannot breathe in this one. I've been sweating all day. I can't handle it. But okay, really quickly, I want because I remember you training for Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh yeah,
you did that, right?
Oh my God, girl, it's in my stories. Yeah, I almost died.
Do you know I have my uncle on my dad's side was a tour guide for on Mount Kilimanjaro.
Cool.
Like, he was like our Indiana Jones uncle who would like live in Africa or travel all over the place and sending us really cool postcards, and we're like, oh, where is he now? But I think that's really fascinating. So you did it for charity, right?
I did. So yeah, it's so funny. It is literally like a year, like today or whatever, when I said yes. So I only had days to decide whether or not I was going to do it. I had like never slept in a tent before. I had never done anything like this, but it was for a children's hospital I had done a lot of work with in Canada. I had raised over like $600,000 for them, and they took me to dinner before a golf tournament one night, and they're like, hey, we're gonna go climb Kilimanjaro. I was like, oh my God, that's cool, awesome. And then I'm like, I should go. And they're like, oh, actually, that's the reason why we brought you. We want to know if you want to come, and you have to decide by Friday. And I was like, what? And so needless to say, I signed up, I said yes, I ordered, like, literally I paid, it was a very expensive thing. I ended up, we as a team ended up raising close to $1 million. I ordered everything on Amazon in a week. I broke in my boots, and every single afternoon I like drove to Little Rock, went to Pinnacle, hiked up and down in Pinnacle in my boots. It was like 100 degrees last August. I used to do the Stairmaster with my backpack because my whole thought was, I'm not physically prepared for this. Like, there's no way that I'm prepared for this. But, you know, truth be told, it was a 9-day hike up the mountain. And for the first 8 days of it, I was fine, like totally fine. No big deal. I think I was, you know, the Lord had prepared me for such a long time for doing the Stairmaster every day for 15 years that, like, it wasn't that big of a deal. My mindset around it was probably like one of my biggest strengths. Obviously, I've been training that for the last 10 years. I will say though that the last day was probably the most difficult. Obviously, like it's a summit. It was like minus 30-degree weather. It was like you wake up at 3 a.m. to start the hike, and I got altitude sickness. And so I was able to summit. And they only allowed me to stay up there like literally less than 1 minute. And when you get down, they gave me the brain swelling medicine for the altitude sickness, but I ended up getting an allergic reaction to that. And so my throat ended up swelling. This is all in my Instagram stories, like the last day of it. But anyway, it ended up being totally fine. I didn't have to die in Africa. And like 2 days later, I was drinking wine and flying home.
My God.
Yeah.
What an amazing opportunity. I mean, I can see how it would be like really hard to say no to that, even when you have to make a decision on such a short period of time. It's like, you just have to at least try.
Oh my gosh. One of the things that I tell all of my clients and how I live my life is we do hard things. Hard things is the reason why you're born. Like hard things make you confident. Hard things is the reason why life happens. Most people avoid hard things, and most people hate difficult situations and try to keep themselves safe in life. Like so many people operate out of like, I don't want to lose. I don't want people to think bad. I don't want to fail. And like, life is actually on the other side of doing hard things.
Well, so is becoming a Dancing with the Stars a hard thing?
Way harder than
to be on. So tell me about that really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I was asked for the last 4 or 5 years to do Dancing with the Stars for Children's Tumor Foundation here in Little Rock. And I've never really had the time for it. And now I had the time this year. And so I decided to sign on in like March, having no idea that this would have happened. And so now it is gone virtual. The whole event is virtual. You can buy a ticket. You can just like get the link in my bio. You can swipe up and any of my stories. All of the money is going to the Children's Tumor Foundation. The NF, it's where people like kids are born. There's no cure with tumors in and outside of their body. And so these people, most of them have to go through, tons of chemo to get rid of the tumors. And so it's the least that I can possibly do is to like make a fool of myself on the dance floor. I've been practicing my dance twice a week, and it's kind of an interesting thing because we're taping it. We have to stay 6 feet apart doing the whole thing, which is, kind of crazy.
So you can be together, but you have to be 6 feet. Oh my goodness.
Apparently. I don't know if we're exactly 6 feet, so don't judge us, but we're in the same space together, so I don't really know how that whole thing works. But we're doing, basically it's just supposed to look tandem with one another. Yeah. I'm the one who looks like a stick, like trying to remember what I'm supposed to do, but yeah.
That's so fun.
Just go with it. Do the robot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, tell everybody how to find you on social media and what your website. Do you have 2 websites or just?
I have just one website. Okay. I have I have all different links on my website, right. But don't even go because it's really hard to spell my name. So the number one thing you can do is just find me on Instagram or Facebook. My team always lets me know when Facebook posts. I'm not a very good Facebook person, but if you are an Instagram person, you are my people. I'm at BChristina, BECHRSTINA. And the reason for that is every single day I want you, Emily, Amy, Christina to show up and be your most authentic self. Just be is kind of like one of the hashtags that I use. So be Christina. Every day I'm showing up being Christina, and you can find me on there, any of the programs that I have, mastermind, coaching, all of the things. So yeah.
I love that.
Awesome.
Last question I want to ask you. Do you do all your social media?
Oh yeah.
Yourself?
Everything.
Wow.
That's the one thing I'm really, the more in my business I have gotten is I do 2 things. I talk to clients and I do my Instagram. Everything else my team does. I know nothing about nothing. They do it all. I just tell them these are the 2 things that I do, and I know nothing about anything else. It's probably not like the best business move ever, but it works for us and it works for my team, and I have an amazing group around me. And but yeah, I do. If it's on Instagram or if it's an email, I put the content out. They make it look pretty and do all the things.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, it's only me. So.
Okay, well, before we go, if you could give one piece of advice, besides kind of some of the things we talked about, but what would be your one thing you could give that would benefit everybody?
Oh my gosh, quit being so afraid. Number one, quit being so afraid. Quit comparing yourself. Live a life that you absolutely freaking love every single day, because guess what? Like, no matter what you're doing, you're deciding. Whether you decide one thing or the other, whether you indecision, that's still a decision. Like, just decide right now, choose every single day to live a life of alignment and purpose. And know, one of the things that I always say is, you're worthy AF, worthy as fuck, or an awesome female if I'm not allowed to cuss. So, but a lot of people forget that they are born worthy, and they are worthy to do anything on this planet that they want to do. And every single one of us has a massive purpose. And that purpose could be, anything from being a podcaster to being a mom to like having the most successful business. But, quit being afraid. Life is so short. Go live your purpose and love it. Enjoy the process too.
I love it.
That's such great advice, and something you need to hear frequently, because it's so easy to let whatever the day's terrors are kind of weigh on you. So
Really do. I love it. Thank you so you've totally started a good week for us. I mean, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Love having you on.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and I'm glad to know you.
Yes, I feel the same. Thank you, girls. Good luck and congratulations, because you're doing things that most people won't. So congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, girl.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.